limits of that supposition.
2 years, they say, is eternity.
Tipped by many as a possible future president of Indonesia, the soldier-turned-politician seems to have begun his campaign in earnest. Tough military man or consensus-building politician? Judge for yourself. The interview with Prabowo Subianto. Throughout his life, Prabowo Subianto has worn many uniforms. But in his first public address outside Indonesia here in Singapore, he admitted that his nervousness had resulted in a 3-day debate about what to wear for the occasion. The correct uniform to clearly identify his purpose.
I hope I look presidential.
And that is the goal, his self-declared last battle, the 2014 presidential election. But what about the man himself? What role primarily defines him? Soldier, businessman, or politician? Prabowo Subianto, thank you very much for speaking with Channel News Asia. Now, you've been a soldier, a businessman, a politician. If I were to ask you to choose one role that best represents Prabowo Subianto the man, in one sentence, what would that be?
I think loyal son of Indonesia.
And which role would that fit into? Soldier, businessman, politician?
I think the three roles tend to develop from each other. As a soldier, you serve your country. As an entrepreneur, you also serve your country. You create jobs. And as a politician, you also serve your people and your country. So I think it sort of flows from each. As a patriot, you want to serve. You want to be a loyal son of your people.
Well, you've stated that one of your mantras is "Who dares wins," and actually that's a motto of the British Special Air Services. Yes. So,
well, there are certain variations. Yes.
Would it be fair to say then that the militaristic mindset is ingrained in you?
I would not say militaristic, but let us say the heritage of a soldier, of an officer, the heritage of a warrior knight.
And this guides you in how you conduct yourself in business and politics as well?
Yes, I think it guides me. I have to conduct myself with honor. I must not break my word. I must face hardship and challenges with courage.
Well, I've actually read that you wanted to take a break from politics, but you were so furious with the conditions of the country that you decided to run in 2014. Is that true?
I would not put it that harshly, furious, but let's say worried, disappointed, concerned about
what
the
kind
future.
of conditions cause such emotions from you?
Yes, the fact that corruption has been so prevalent, increasing. It's like a disease. It's like cancer. That I think is very, very worrying for the future of Indonesia. And as I said in my lectures, in my speeches, our challenges are so great. We have a population explosion in Indonesia. We have 3.8 million new mouths every year. We have to feed. We have to clothe. We have energy resources depleting very soon. These are tremendous challenges, and we need strong leadership. We need change in Indonesia.
Well, it's an open secret that some people fear you, and you perhaps still have this image of a hard military man. Is that image justified?
I don't think so, but a hard military man. I mean, if I were in active service, yeah, I have to be a good military man. But of course, you are what you are, and you serve and you present yourself. So I think let the Indonesian people decide.
Are you doing anything to perhaps change that image of you?
I'm not doing anything special. I just try to be myself. When I speak from my heart, from my conviction. I don't usually use notes. I try to be myself. I think that's the best policy.
Well, actually, that no-nonsense image of yours is a double-edged sword because on the one hand, people are saying they back you because they feel that Indonesia needs a strong, firm leader. But on the other hand, it has probably also made you enemies. And you've said that you sought wisdom in this ancient saying that 1,000 friends is too few and one enemy is too many.
Right.
Do you think that you've made too many enemies? Can you really take charge of the country as president and rally the entire rakyat, the entire people behind you?
I think I did make enemies in my career. I was a no-nonsense guy, mission-oriented. I was a combat officer. Once you've been in combat, you don't really think too much about ceremonies and niceties, and so I think on that case I was a bit too abrasive. But I think now I am older. I think a bit wiser. I hope. But in the end, I think it's what you stand for. It's the principles you stand for that matters. I think, and I think this is coming across that that in the end I'm a good servant of my people, and if they need me, I will serve.
Well, Susilo Bambang Yodo, Wiranto, yourself, all ex-military, it seems that the Indonesian military still looms large in politics. Why do you think this is the case? Why are there so many former army figures in politics right now?
When my generation entered the military, that was in the 70s, the military of Indonesia had very high prestige. The Indonesian National Army, the TNI, was a liberation army. It was an army of liberation. And it was a people's army. And I think the Indonesian society respected that. Majority of the Indonesian people, in the end, in a critical situation, will look to the army as a unifying force.
And you think this is still the case 14 years since they've experienced democracy?
Well, all the surveys and the research say that the majority of the Indonesian people, they still believe in the loyalty, the credibility of the TNI, the Indonesian National Army. And I think this is the background why they feel comfortable with a former military leader.
Any good tailor will tell you that the clothes maketh the man. But an electorate considers much more than the uniform a candidate wears. The campaign period is crucial. Does Prabowo have the political stamina to keep going till 2014? And does he possess a manifesto that can realistically tackle the economic challenges facing Indonesia? Find out after the break. Hailing from what he calls a family of fighting Indonesian patriots, Prabowo Subianto is about to fight for the presidency of his beloved Indonesia. He started early, but can he maintain the momentum right up to the 2014 polls?
I'm a realistic person in politics. One day you can go up and the next day you can go down. So It's a long way to go, you know. So,
That's right. 2 years is a long time in politics.
2 years, they say, is an eternity.
So what are you trying to do to maintain your current momentum?
I go with the flow. I work from day to day, from week to week. I go with my message. I keep on message,
Which is?
which is clean government. That is my main message. We must prepare for the future. We must get our act together. That is my message. In Indonesian, it sounds berdiri di atas kaki sendiri.
Hoping that
That's what
challenges will go away.
former President Sukarno always proposed. We must have the strength, the courage to stand on our own two feet, and we must pull ourselves with our own effort.
But there are reported splits in your party, and the founding chair and a founding member and deputy chair, Halida Hatta, has quit. And some people are saying that was in protest to your strong leadership style. Is that true?
No, I don't think so. It's completely not. I mean, she resigned. She told me that she had to concentrate on her work, and in her new job in the company, they preferred her not to be involved in politics.
Golkar's Abu Rizal Bakri has expressed his interest in running for president. Do you see him as your main threat?
I think I don't see them as threats. I see it, you know, competitors. I mean, that's democracy. You have to compete. We compete with our ideals, our solutions that we offer to the country. So, you know, let's go with, you know, let's go ahead in a real democracy.
For a real democracy to be successful, it needs to be complemented by a vibrant economy. Prabowo's family has a strong background in finance. His grandfather was the founder of Bank Negara Indonesia, and his father, a noted economist, was President Suharto's finance minister. So whilst economic planning may be in his DNA, is it in his presidential campaign manifesto? When you ran in 2009 as vice presidential candidate, you revealed your economic strategy, which has been dubbed Prabowonomics. And
Really?
oh, that's new to you? Well, yeah, there are a lot of reports that have called it Prabowonomics.
Really?
And the focus, I believe, is to intensify development in mainly agriculture
Yes,
and
yes.
have state-owned enterprises as the key drivers of growth.
Yes.
Has this evolved since 2009?
I'm still convinced that that is the way to go. Yeah, our competitive advantage is actually in the agriculture sector. Our weakness also is in agriculture sector, but our opportunity is also in the agriculture sector.
Why is it a weakness?
You see, a weakness in the sense that the present situation now, we import too much of our food from abroad. All my predictions are coming true. I warned that Indonesia cannot afford to be reliant on foreign imports of food because the potential for natural disasters in the other countries are too much.
But can Indonesia really be self-sufficient?
No, it's not can. We must. We must.
What are your plans to move towards that?
We have 77 million hectares of destroyed forest. Destroyed. And increasing every day, every year. As we speak 10 minutes, there are forests the size of 6 soccer fields being destroyed. So this is very dangerous. And we must stop this.
60% of our
And
population
one of my
is in
proposals
the
is to
agriculture sector.
convert
Can you imagine?
a part
60%
of this
the
destroyed
population
forest into
is
productive
allocated
land.
3%.
And this should be concentrated on creating, producing food and bioenergy. This will make us self-sufficient in food and self-sufficient in energy. So this is my grand strategy, what I call the big push strategy.
But critics say agriculture is not the path towards a developed economy. What's your comeback to that?
No, I don't agree. It depends on the economy. It depends on the society. You have Finland that has a lot of timber, many years, and then they developed into a high tech. So you have United States, very strong agriculture, but they also are into industries, high tech, science. So I think it's the other way around. I think agriculture is the base for all economic development. Human civilization is food. Food is the essence of life.
Food is the essence of life, and Prabowo is trying to reinstate it as the essence of what he calls his economic big push. But what about Indonesia's relations with its neighbors, and indeed the rest of the world? Find out in a moment on The Interview. Prabowo Subianto describes himself as a loyal son of Indonesia, but his childhood was very international. While his father was on the run for supporting a failed regional revolt, Prabowo grew up in Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, Hong Kong, Switzerland, and the UK. So what are his foreign policy views? Since assuming the ASEAN chair, Indonesia seems to have pursued more of a leadership role within the group. Is an assertive Indonesia taking charge regionally in line with Prabowo's vision for his country?
You cannot say that I am your leader. You must create respect. You must create understanding. Respect and understanding we cannot impose on others. And that's why Indonesia must get its act together. We can say we're the fourth biggest country in the world. We are part of the G20. We are the 16th biggest economy in the world. We can say that. But if everybody knows that 50% of our population are under the poverty line, who will respect us?
So your focus is to build Indonesia from within first.
I think that's the only alternative, You must be solid. If you are solid, if the country is wealthy, there's prosperity, our people are enjoying a good quality of life, people everywhere will listen to us.
But a real concern in the region is actually China's rising military might, especially in the South China Sea. How do you view China?
We have to respect their rise and we maintain good relations with them. Any rising power will, of course, they will have a very strong military. That's their right. Now, how we in ASEAN, how we approach our relationship, it must be based on, as I said earlier, good communications, good relations, good friendship, and the desire to accommodate each other.
Well, partly in response to China, the US has refocused its attention and resources to Asia, and this includes the military. So it's increased its military presence in Southeast Asia. How do you view that?
I am not really concerned because they are a global power. They can move their military anywhere. But in this globalized world, in this high-tech world, do you know that now they can send an unarmed plane from Florida coming to Singapore, controlled from Florida. They don't need to be here. You understand? Scientifically and technically, military weaponry and development is so advanced that actually it doesn't matter where they base their forces. This is the development of military science up to now. So we have to be realistic. They are a global power. They will be where they want to be, and perhaps it will be a good factor for stabilization.
Well, you've been quite open about your admiration for Singapore's founding father, Lee Kuan Yew, and you've even modeled your party, Gerindra, after the party he founded, the People's Action Party. Just what is it that you admire about Lee Kuan Yew?
I grew up in Singapore as a small boy, So I followed Singapore's development. I also grew up in Malaysia, so I'm very familiar with, Singapore and Malaysia. What I was impressed, my family, we were all impressed by the commitment by the early Singapore leaders, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew and his cohort. They wanted to provide a clean government for the people of Singapore, and that was, I think, what we wanted to do too in Indonesia.
Well, you've said this presidential race will be your last battle for your country. Now,
This is my age. How can, if you're not needed, you must know when to step aside.
but if you are successful, what would you like your first line of legacy to be?
I want to lay the foundation, the groundwork for the transformation of the Indonesian economy so that we can be a stable, modern, advanced, industrial, and just society. That is my ambition. That is my driving motivation.
Thank you very much, Prabowo Subianto, for
Thank
sharing
you.
your insights on the interview.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.